Welcome to the Focal Insights Podcast Founder Hour edition, hosted by co-founder Joe Pawlak. Joe has been in the e-commerce industry for over 25 years. He grew and bootstrapped his own startup to a successful exit. Founder Hour episodes go behind the scenes to learn how some of the best e-commerce brands were founded, grown, and operated straight from the founders themselves. Founder Hour is brought to you by Focal Software, a new generation ERP and operation suite for e-commerce brands and third-party marketplace sellers. Focal was built with SMB brands and marketplace sellers in mind to help them grow profitably. Now let's welcome our host, Joe Pawlak.
Hello and welcome to the Focal E-commerce Insights podcast, where we chat with e-commerce entrepreneurs about business, selling online, and how to overcome challenges for success. Today we have a very exciting guest, but before we get started, for listeners not familiar with this podcast or Focal Software is an e-commerce operations software and marketplace account management company. So if you need help growing your business profitably, be sure to stay tuned for future podcasts or feel free to reach out. Joining us today is Kimberly Meckwood, who is the CEO of Click and Carry, a company that manufactures and sells a simple carrying device that allows shoppers to manage and carry multiple bags at once comfortably in either the hands or over the shoulder for a hands-free carry. Kim has attended the University of Scranton and has a degree from San Diego State University. She founded Click and Carry in 2014. She has a background in medical device and pharmaceutical sales, has appeared on Good Morning America, The Today Show, Food Fortunes, The Bethany Frankel Show, Shark Tank, and 13 appearances as a guest on the QVC channel. She has 2 utility patents on her product, Click and Carry. She's selling in both retail and online, started the business in Los Angeles, and currently lives and works in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Kim, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Joe. I'm thrilled that you have me here today. I appreciate the offer.
All right. Well, we always start off the podcast with the quote unquote origin story of how did you start your business? What motivated you to have your own business? And why don't you start us there?
Sure. So I had a breakup. I normally live in a Los Angeles condo, and I actually still have the condo. I'm renting it out currently, but I had a boyfriend at the time. So when I would come home from the grocery store, I would just call Matt and he would come and pick up the groceries. And then when we broke up, I had to carry my own groceries and it was just a pain in the behind. So I knew there had to be a better way, because when you live in a condo, you have to go up an elevator, up multiple stairs, through multiple doors. It's a pain. And that's just to get to the finish line, your front door. So the idea for Click and Carry came to me in a dream. Initially, it was just the bottom portion. And that worked well, but the problem is when you set it down, the bags would pop out. So I knew I needed a top on my Click and Carry. So I added a magnetic top, but I knew people would lose one of 2 pieces. So after about 9 iterations, I came up with the winner. I created a mold and to identify whether the product was viable or not. Turns out it was viable. And then I filed for patents. It took me almost 3 years for the first patent and another 1.5 years for the second utility patent. But at the time, I had just gone through my first bout of breast cancer. And when you're faced with a serious situation like that, you realize that you have to be happy in life. And I was happy with my job. At the time, I was working for Medtronic in deep brain stimulation. I always worked with neurologists and neurosurgeons, and I loved my job. But I wanted to have my own business. So like I said, going through something so severe, it gives you the strength and determination to start your own business. So I did Click and Carry on the side all the way up until about 2019, when I was finally selected to be on Shark Tank. And then when I finally aired, I quit my job because I knew that it would be a conflict of interest. And I've been doing Click and Carry full-time ever since.
All right. So a couple of things there. When you have a health scare, you realize how limited our time is. And It sounds like you thought, you know what, I've always maybe had in the back of my mind, I want to start my own business or have my own business. And, life is short, so I better do it now.
Absolutely. In fact, it's funny because one of my best friends, and she's a neurologist at USC, her name is Jennifer Huey. I love her. At one point, I was telling her about my invention, and she said, will you shut up and stop talking about it and do something about it? So I did. And she's pretty much the reason I invented Click and Carry.
Yeah, that's some good advice. So the second part of your story there is solving a problem,
Mhm.
which in any business, you're really with a product, it has to solve some problem that either exists, so you're inventing a better mousetrap, or you're inventing something that doesn't exist, and that's a challenging one because people aren't aware of it. But you thought, well, I have this problem, so other people might have this problem. So
Yep.
two parts to that. Were you able to do research to verify that there is a demand for this, or did you just kind of know that this people must need this? It's obvious they need it.
I just knew, but I will tell you that I have, of course, surveyed all my friends and family, and there were a lot of naysayers. A lot of people thought it was a bunch of baloney, to be perfectly honest. And turns out there really is a need, especially in big cities where people live in condos or apartment living, or people who have to take public transportation, or even the mom who needs a spare hand to carry their kid or have a spare hand to hold their toddler's hand while they wear their click and carry. And the funny thing is, I invented it for groceries, but people use it as a ski boot tote for dry cleaning, paint cans, construction pails. It's a stand for your iPhone or iPad once you get it home. It's great for sports equipment. So the funny thing is, I invented it for groceries, but through social media, I found out that people use it for many, many reasons.
Yeah, so you weren't just solving one problem in the end there, you're solving several problems.
Absolutely. And if I were to make a prediction, I'm going to say that every house is going to have one because it's kind of like the umbrella. You don't need it every time, but when you need it, you need it.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, so you decide to start the business. Now this is a business that requires some capital. You've got to design, you've got to manufacture, you got to build these things, you've got to test it. So what challenges did you come across getting started, maybe that you didn't expect, and how did you overcome those?
Getting started, it definitely was a slog. It took me a while. I did it slowly and I financed it from my own funds. I mean, I had a great job. I worked for Medtronic and medical device sales, and it was fantastic. But I also had to pay for my condo and for living expenses. But every spare penny I could put into the business, I did. But it's funny. I think that once you make a decision in life, things kind of open up for you. So, for example, I was talking about the invention. Jennifer said, shut up and stop talking about it, go do it. Once I had the idea in place after 9 iterations, I had hired a student at the Pasadena Design School because they had a CAD printer, a 3D CAD printer. And there I was able to pay $195 a print versus in the real world, if I rented space or hired an engineer to CAD print it for me, it would have been $2,000 per iteration. So it cost me $2,000 for what would have cost piece of one iteration of Click and Carry, $2,000. Um, and then my neighbor across the hall happened to work for Ty, the Beanie Baby manufacturing company. So he hooked me up with his factory. So we created a mold to make sure it was viable. And then I had a friend who introduced me to an awesome patent attorney. Um, uh, his name is Jason Farhardian. He's amazing, and he helped me through both utility patents. So everything kind of fell into place. It did take a lot longer than it would take a big company because they would have the capital to do it right and quickly. But I just took my time and made it happen.
Yeah, that's a great example too, when you're starting a company and self-funding it, that you really have to be careful with the cash because you can go through it very, very quickly.
Sure can. I still do.
Yeah. Okay, let's switch a little bit because we're an e-commerce company, and I know that you're selling online. Were you always an online sales company, or talk about how you decided to get this out there to the market?
That's so funny. So, what happened is I went to a trade show and I was in an area called Inventor's Corner. So, as a part of being in Inventor's Corner, we were able to pitch to a number of companies, and QVC discovered me. So that was the start of the expansion and launch of Click and Carry. And I actually didn't move on to onto online sales, except for my website, which didn't bring in a lot of people because I didn't have a lot of money for marketing. But I finally joined Amazon because I entered a contest with these amazing online guys. They, like, for example, the one guy invented Jungle Scout. The other guy, who's awesome, Steve Chow, he has a company called My Wife Quit Her Job.com, and Mike Jackness. It was an amazing group. And because I entered this contest, I had to get online. So I joined Amazon in 2019, I believe it was. And so I've been on ever since. And it was something that I should have done years and years ago, because truth is, Amazon is the way. That's where all the people are. That's where the platform brings in the best people and the best amount of traction. So that's why I joined social media, and that's why I joined online sales.
Yeah, and there are a lot of products that are a very, very good fit for online marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart.com. And I think it sounds like you also took that model, that Amazon model, and then got onto some other marketplaces. Which other ones are you on, and how's that going?
Great. Well, I mean, again, it's a lot about publicity, and when your name is out there, you get a lot of additional business. So in addition to Amazon, I'm on my own website, clickandcarry.com. I'm on Lowe's.com. I'm on Walmart.com, Kroger.com. I'll be on Albertsons.com because I'm launching into their stores in September. And I'm missing another big one. Albertsons, Lowe's, Walmart Canada. I'm also Walmart Canada.
Okay. And any other Amazon, Canada, Mexico, Europe?
Yes, and Brazil. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
Fantastic.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that you're very much what people refer to as an omnichannel seller.
Yep.
With that, you get a lot of volume, so you're going to get a lot of sales because of the leveraging those platforms, but a lot of complexity for your business as well. So how do you manage all that complexity and keep track of the different marketplaces?
It has been a challenge. I have an amazing right-hand man. His name is Chase Blum. I couldn't do without him. And incidentally, I met him by accident. He saw me on Shark Tank, and at the time he was a student at the University of Maryland, and he was the president of the Marketing Association. So he asked me to be on a panel, and then following that, a couple of months later, I get a call from him. He said, I was trying to think of what I wanted to do for the summer for an internship, and I decided I wanted to work for you. So he and I have been together for over 3 years now, and he's just amazing. He's more the operations, and I'm more the face of the company, the sales, and the inventor, the creative.
Okay. And what tools is he using from a technology, like a tech stack? When you've got all these orders coming in, are you doing spreadsheets? Do you have an ERP, or what do you
We
use?
do we do spreadsheets. We hired out a lot of things. For example, we don't manage our own Amazon website. That is hired out, but we do spreadsheets. And I mean, I do the fulfillment, and I also have a 3PL, but I do all of the smaller channels like Walmart and Lowe's and Kroger. I handle that here in-house. And then my 3PL handles all the additional Amazon, the overload for the fulfilled by merchant. But no, we've just been kind of holding it together, the two of us, with some outsourcing, of course. Like I said, we have a 3PL, we have an accountant, we have a bookkeeper, we hire out help with social media and meta ads and things like that.
So I'm assuming then QuickBooks is in the mix for
Yes.
accounting and
Yes, QuickBooks is my savior. I couldn't do without it.
yeah. Okay. Well, when we talk about e-commerce and online sales, it's a massive industry. It's growing. It really exploded during the COVID years because nobody could, go outside and go shopping. So there are a couple things there affecting you, both the need for people to purchase online, but also they need to be out shopping to use your tool. So How did that impact you? And it's kind of like a double-edged sword if you were online selling online, that would help. But if people can't go outside, that doesn't help.
Yep. It was actually kind of a blessing for me in that I had all of this extra spare time to work on my business because we transferred to working from home. So I had extra hours in the day, not having to fight Los Angeles traffic. And people, even though they weren't allowed to really go out, people still went out and went shopping. They just went shopping with their masks. And this enabled them to carry a whole lot more home. So a lot of people ended up walking for their groceries or making sure that they did all their shopping in one trip, shopping for 2 weeks. So they really needed a click and carry. It was actually a really big benefit for me. And I happened to air during the time of COVID. So when I aired, it was December 11th, 2020, and it was right in time for the holidays. And click and carry is a perfect stocking stuffer. So it really took off. That weekend on Amazon, I sold about $300,000 worth of product, and it's a very inexpensive product. So it was pretty incredible. So
Yeah,
I'd say COVID helped me to take off.
that's a lot of orders for sure. Yeah, and you're right. At that time too, there was the toilet paper phenomenon too, which means very big bags
Yeah.
and a need to carry those efficiently. Um, Want to move back to another thing you said too. You said you're using an agency to help manage Amazon. Was that from the inception, or did you try it on your own and had to spend too much time and wanted someone else to work with you, or how did that go?
I did hire help to put together my listings because I had to do it quickly for that contest, which by the way, I did win. I won $50,000 and a lot of help with Amazon. It was an incredible program and I met some amazing people and I'm very thankful for it. But I did hire people from the start because I know enough to know that I'm not a master of Amazon. So it behooved me to hire out and have a real expert looking at it. And the same is true now. I'm just too busy because I'm moving into retail. I'm going into a lot of major retailers right now, and that requires a lot of effort. So to have someone else manage something that changes on the daily basis, to be on it, is better for my business than having me do it and make mistakes. I think I'm saving money by paying money to have someone help me.
Yeah, and the thing with all these agencies that manage these marketplaces, also what happened with COVID is all of a sudden there were thousands of these companies, and many of them can't deliver what they promise. Were you successful with the first one, or did you have to bounce around a little bit?
I bounced around and I'm still bouncing. I had an issue last year. It really wrecked my sales because Amazon is my number one channel, and it was phenomenal, not last year, but the year before. Phenomenal. I had record sales. And what happened is someone from the UAE asked me if they could sell on my behalf in the UAE. So I gave them permissions to sell. And it created an image issue. And as a result, we had to stop and start over. And I'm still having issues because of that image issue. And I'm no longer in the algorithm like I used to be. Whereas I was always I'm still the Amazon's pick and bestseller, but I'm not in the algorithm like I used to be. So I'm still looking for someone who can help me to get my product back up to the top ranks in listing.
Yeah, that's a big problem. And also, people reverse engineering products and then knocking them off and
Yep.
making it look like it's your product. Has that been a problem as well?
Sure has. I've learned so much. In fact, I took that on as my personal goal to help others who've been knocked off, and they're obviously overseas, and it's usually people from China. And the good news is that I'm covered in the United States, and that's why I'm pivoting into retail because they can't bring their products into Lowe's and to Walmart and to Albertsons Safeway because I hold the utility patents. So that's why I'm making this pivot, but it's heartbreaking. And what Chase and I did is we dug in because I met the director of the Patent and Trademark Office. She's a friend. She's no longer the director. She's amazing. But she put us in touch with people at the Patent and Trademark Office, the attorneys at the White House who help promote ideas and concepts. We talked to the CBP, we talked to stopfakes.com, and we learned so much. And we actually shared that wealth with all of our other Shark Tank pals. We do reunions once a year, sometimes twice a year. So we took all of that knowledge and we help others who are experiencing the same problem with knockoffs. We also hired a group called COPA, and they're able to online find people who are infringing on my copyright, my trademark, or my patent, and then we have them taken down. And the IACC is an amazing group as well. In fact, it's free for the first year. I believe it's financed by Alibaba. But for the first year, it's free for online sellers who are having infringement problems. And it's basically a system because they have the in with people at Alibaba and Temu and all of the other different offshore sellers. And we're able to get listings taken down that way. But it certainly is a problem.
Yeah, it is. And it's one that most Amazon sellers, especially when they're doing it themselves, don't even think about. But Amazon does have some tools and protections and measures in place to address it very quickly when you find out something like that has happened, but you want to be ahead of it, not reacting to it.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because the program I use at Amazon is called Apex. And it's an amazing system. In fact, right now I could have a listing taken down in 24 to 48 hours, but that wasn't the case the first one or two times. And of course, the first one happened right before the holidays for Black Friday. So I had to wait 30 days. And then of course, the offshore seller didn't want to fight me. So then they were taken down, but I had to wait 30 days. Then it happened again, and with a different seller, I had to wait another 30 days. And then finally I was admitted into the Apex program. So now I could have them taken down in 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah. So you absolutely want to be in that program and be prepared because certain products for sure are they're going to do it. And you've got patents and it's a specific invention, but even though it wouldn't have the complexity of your invention, they can make it look like it, right?
Oh, and they steal my images or my videos. It's maddening.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we're getting to the point where I like to do something that's kind of new for the podcast. I call it the speed round,
Okay.
which is just 3 questions for you, and just to get the thoughts off the top of your head in pretty brief explanation. And I think some of these questions are going to touch on some things that you talked about earlier too. So we can probably spend a little more time and go in a little more than usual in depth. So question number 1 is, what would your number 1 piece of advice be for anyone thinking of starting their own business and you can't say, don't do it?
I wouldn't. It's actually been fun. It has been challenging, but it's been fun. My advice would be that there's so many amazing resources out there to help you to start a business. For example, the SBA. I utilized the SBA, and through that, I met this amazing professor at USC. He's a professor of marketing, and I sometimes speak in his classes, and I judge a Shark Tank-like competition every year, and he helps me when I have problems, and that's through the SBA. It's free. Different college programs like UCLA has the Anderson School, or USC, the Marshall School, and engineering departments. You can actually utilize local colleges. Sometimes, let's say the MBA professor is doing a certain project. Well, you could volunteer your project and get free marketing research by utilizing the students' smart brains. There's something called SCORE, which is basically retired engineers, retired accountants, retired CEOs who are willing to give back, pick their brains. And then my favorite is that there's something called the Patent and Trademark, PTDC. Oh my gosh, Patent and Trademark. Basically, they're libraries, You'll have to look it up. I can't remember the acronym. I apologize, but they're libraries. There are usually two per state, and it's manned by librarians, but these are all well-versed librarians in law. So they can help you do a patent search. They can help you file a copyright. They can help you file a patent. They can refer you to local law students who can help you, or even lawyers in the area. So it's amazing. In California, where I utilize them, PTDC, I think it is, PTRC Resource Center, that's it. Patent and Trademark Resource Center, PTRC. I utilize them in Los Angeles to see if my product was already out there. It's an amazing free service. So there's a lot of amazing utilities out there for you to take advantage of without breaking the bank. And then utilize your friends and family as focus groups. Make sure your idea is viable. Like I said, I had a lot of naysayers, but I believed in the product. And I'm kind of pig-headed, so I wasn't going to stop. So sometimes you have to ignore the naysayers would be another piece of advice I would offer.
Yeah, so that advice is there's a lot of resources out there available. Go out and find them and leverage them to help get yourself up and running and to save money.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question is a lot of entrepreneurs say that you need to surround yourself with good people and also that you need a little bit of luck. And you kind of ran through a pretty quick background where a lot of things fell in place for you. So that's kind of on the luck side. And sometimes these are one and the same, meaning you need a good team. And sometimes it's so hard to hire good people. Sometimes, like maybe with Chase, you never know until you hire him, but then you get lucky, you get somebody who's a massive contributor.
I was lucky there, that's for sure. He's just amazing. I would not be this far without him. I'll tell you that. And I'm very lucky to have him as part of the team. And he actually works with other Shark Tank entrepreneurs as well. He once he finished his MA at University of Maryland, he actually has his own consulting business. So he helps other entrepreneurs as well, but he's mainly with me, and I'm lucky for that. And I would say, yes, I've been lucky, knock wood, knocking some wood. But I think you have to be prepared, and when an opportunity presents itself, you have to go for it. So for example, before I was ever on Shark Tank, I bumped into Mark Burnett in an elevator in one of my medical buildings that I was visiting to see a doctor for my job. And I pitched him right there in the elevator. I literally gave him an elevator pitch. So when you see the opportunity, you have to seriously just go for it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because to anyone that isn't starting or running a business or on the outside, it looks like luck. But the way I describe it is you have to put yourself into the position to get lucky. And that's where the work is to make sure that you're there so that when those opportunities pop up, that you can take advantage of them. Okay, last question in the speed round is if you had a magic wand to fix one thing that's holding you back or slowing you down, what would that one thing be that you can fix with a magic wand?
I would say capital. I could be so much further ahead if I had a ton of extra cash, but when you have your own business, you have to be scrappy. So I would say capital, because I don't have the freedom that I would love to have to invent new items and launch properly into Lowe's and Albertsons Safeway. I'm doing it, but I don't get to have the liberty to do it full time because I have to handle the day-to-day and the operations. So I would say an infusion of capital would make my dream come true, and I would be able to launch successfully.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I hear that an awful lot, and for an entrepreneur with a vision that knows where you want to end up, it's very frustrating to have to go through a process that you want to be faster. So really, it's not that you want the money, you want to be able to speed things up, and the only way really to do that is with more cash.
Exactly. Like, for example, I've been thinking about my next invention for years. I'm finally just doing it now. In fact, it's being sewn in Lancaster, Pennsylvania now with the Amish because they're very well known for their craftsmanship. And I can't wait to bring it to market. It's going to be perfect, especially because I'm in Tractor Supply currently and I'm going into Lowe's, and this is an adjacent product for the click and carry. It's used with the click and carry. And I already have the market because I'm already in those stores. So this would just be a natural progression for the product line. But I could have been done with this months ago if I had a ton of cash, but I had to do it slowly because they have to pay for all that upfront.
Yeah, and it sounds like that'll be a perfect bundle or kit for Amazon as well.
It will be. It's amazing. It's actually I can't wait to show it. It's basically a carrier that hooks onto the click and carry so you can carry your heavy items that don't have handles, like a big bag of 40-pound salt or a 50-pound bag of dog food or cow feed or whatever the case may be. You could put it into this carrier. It hooks up to the click and carry and you carry it like a briefcase, so you don't have to crook your elbows. So it makes it easier, number one, and you could do it simultaneously in both hands so you don't mess up your back. And even a small person like me can easily carry 60 pounds because I would have 30 pounds on each side.
All right, well, now I'm going to be like, I forget your friend's name that said, shut up and do it. Who was that?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Okay, so now I'm going to be like Jennifer and say, well, stop talking about it. Let's see it. What do
I
you
can't
got?
wait to show it to you.
Let's see what your products are and tell people where they can find them and where they can find you if they want to reach out.
Sure. So this is the click and carry. It's a handle, obviously. So what you do is you twist it open, and the key is to load handle bags onto each side, any bag with a handle, plastic, paper, canvas, your purse. Once you have them all in, and the key is to evenly distribute the weight, you lock it into place, and you can carry it in your hand because there's comfy gel, but better, you wear it over your shoulder like that and your hands free. And the reason this is a benefit is because you're using your back as a support system instead of the extremity. So it feels like half the weight. Obviously, it doesn't make the groceries weigh any less, but it really does feel like half the weight. And I also mentioned it's used for other things. And this is one of our favorite uses for paint cans and construction pails. And I say it carries up to 100 pounds, but it doesn't even stress fracture until you get to 153 pounds. So it's pretty great.
Yeah, I notice you're not demoing 4 bags of rock salt.
Yeah.
That would be quite a challenge, but I could see how you could do it if you have the strength. There's no way you could carry 4 just in your hands.
That's absolutely true. It's so funny. And that's why Lowe's loves it, because people like to carry 2 cans of paint out, even just the 1 gallons. Those handles hurt, and especially when they're the wire handles. Now you could easily carry 4. It feels like nothing.
Yeah, they do. They gouge your hands.
They do, and cut off the circulation.
Yes. So it's a safety and health issue as well. You're solving
Yes.
many problems here. Okay, and how do people find these? We talked about Amazon and Walmart, but where else and where can they find you?
Perfect. Well, clickandcarry.com, and it's A&D, even though my company's with the ampersand, it's click, C-L-I-C-K, A-N-D-C-A-R-R-Y.com. I'm currently in Tractor Supply, Meijer stores, and some Kroger stores, in particular Ralph's in Southern California. But I'm going into Albertsons, Safeway across the country. I'm going into Lowe's. I'm going into Walmart Canada and hopefully Walmart US sometime soon. I was put off for a little bit. They're rearranging the front end. So once that's complete in about 6 months, hopefully I'll be at the cash register at Walmart. And I just feel really lucky to be moving into retail and to have basically the base salary in online sales. It's really what's supporting me at this present time. So I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be out there everywhere, which is important because if there's going to be 1 or more of these in every home, then you got to make it easy for people to find it wherever
That's
they
right.
are.
It's the next umbrella. And one more funny thing is people will buy one and then they'll be caught on one grocery shopping trip without it. And then they'll come back and they'll buy 7. So they have one in the glove compartment, one in the trunk, one in their purse or backpack. So every house will have multiple click and carries. That's my prediction.
Super handy. Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up today's podcast. So, Kim, thank you for sharing your experience with our listeners. And thanks to everyone listening. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Focal Insights Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can be alerted of new episodes. See you next time.